Have you ever tried to do a VLOOKUP? They're one of the most popular functions in Excel, but it's one of those functions that people have a lot of problems with. So whether you're creating it from scratch, or whether you're working on one that somebody else has already done and you're trying to fiddle with it to get different results, there's always little things that go wrong and you don't quite get the results you need all the time. So I want to take you through how to do a VLOOKUP from scratch. I want to talk about some of the pitfalls you may come across, so that by the time you come to do your VLOOKUP function, it's going to work perfectly, first time out. Here you go. So when you're doing a VLOOKUP, you always have a table and you always have a value that you're feeding in to try and find a match on in the first column of the table. So here's just a very small sample table to work with. And what I'm going to do is to try and find a match on whichever name I have here. It's currently Bruce. It's going to try and find Bruce in the first column of the table. And when it finds a match, it will then go across and retrieve one of these other bits of data from a column that I specify. So here's the key steps of a VLOOKUP formula. You start with what it is you're trying to find a match on, in this case Bruce. You specify a table range that contains all your data. You specify a column that contains the data you're interested in. So in this case, car would be column 2, trade would be column 3, state would be column 4, age would be column 5, and jobs would be column 6. It's got nothing to do with the column letters at the top. So column D does not represent column 4. That's got nothing to do with it. It's the column number within the table. The last piece of information that is required for the VLOOKUP is whether you want to do an exact match or a closest match. Now in the case of text, like a name, it's always exact. So you put the word false, which represents exact. After I've shown you a couple of examples here, I'm going to move on to the next sheet and show you an example of a closest match. Let's try and find, let's say, what car Bruce drives. We start off here and we say equals VLOOKUP, open bracket. Now, if you're familiar with how VLOOKUP works, you can just work your way through the screen tip here, and it just reminds you of the order. For this one, I'm going to click the FX to give you a breakdown. So, the lookup value, in this case, is Bruce. That cell there. The table array is the entire data section of your table. It doesn't need to include the column headings because you're never going to be looking for a match on name. It's always going to be one of the names. So here I choose from Dave down to the bottom right corner. That's my table range. Column index number. I'm after the car. So bearing in mind what I said before, name is column 1, car is column 2. So I type column 2 here. And then range lookup is either true or false, depending on whether you want to do an exact match or a closest match. Here I want exact. So I'm going to put the word false in. You can see down here it's previewing Holden already. And if we look at Bruce's data, he does indeed drive a Holden. Let's do one more example. Before I do it this time, I'm actually going to name the range because quite often what you find with tables is that you're picking up different information from the same table in lots of places. So if you name the table, it just removes one of the complications for you. So here I've just selected all the data. I go to the name box here. Let's call this trades. I'm then going to come to this cell here and again start with a VLOOKUP, open brackets. Again, I'm going to click the FX. The lookup value again is Bruce. The table array, now because I've named it, I'm going to press F3, which gives me a list of all the stuff that's been named. So here I'm going to choose trades. The column index number for trade is column 3 in this table. And range lookup is false. OK that, and you get plumber, and if you look, Bruce is a plumber. So that's how VLOOKUP works. It always tries to find a match in the first column of the table and retrieves data from whichever column you tell it to. Let's do an example of a closest match. So here we have a table which tells you the price you need to pay based on the weight of a package. So you see it's got minimum weight, maximum weight, so 0 through to 99 is this price. 100 to 199 is this price. So whether these are grams or kilograms, you can decide. Doesn't really matter. Let's say for this example, it's grams. In the weight, let's say we have a package that's 150 grams. Now you'll see there's no exact match for 150 anywhere in this table. So what we're going to do is to do a closest match and use the minimum weight, and it goes down to the closest minimum weight that's applicable. Equals VLOOKUP, open brackets. This time it's going to write it straight in. So the weight or the lookup value is this, comma. The table array is this, comma. The price is in column 3 of this table. So column 3, comma. And then this time I'm going to put true because I want to do a closest match. The weight is 150 grams. That falls in this category 100 to 199, and $2 is your price. If we change this value a few times, so 199 grams is still $2. Move it up to 200, the price moves up to $4 because that's where the break is. So that's an example of a closest match. I hope that's removed a few obstacles and cleared a few things up for you. See you for the next one.